Why is it much harder to focus on the future than on the past? Why is it much harder to focus on the future, and especially on the distant future, than on the past? We drag with us a huge heap of spurum forms from the past. They are the conceptions created by us about the world and ourselves. It's much easier for us to focus on any of these spurum forms. One will certainly get to one of their own stereotypes, meaning nouveau forms, which have been manifested in different worlds, for example 2000 years before. These conceptions, these feelings are very familiar to us, because we still have karmic channels of Arglamuni, Inglimelissa, Arlactor, Aiglilia. We have the experience of all this already, and it has been fixed in our subconsciousness. When you sit down to meditate, you will certainly step on one of your spurum forms. The future consists of the other spurum forms. Why you, who lives now 2000 years before, and have the abilities, let's suppose like me, that you are not able, or at least hardly can see our current environment, which is right here? Why can't you see this yourself? Actually, I should say become yourself, because see yourself means to become a part of the configuration. That's because those conceptions of your stereotypes focused by you there at the present moment, you focus both there and here and in the future. Although they are very far and don't connect at all in any way with your conceptions about possibility of, let's say, ways of communications. 2000 years ago they had no idea of possibility to do something with cell phones or watch TV, to fly an airplane, to drive a chariot without horses, and many other things. It's very difficult to imagine all these things there. What I'm able to pull down, to reduce, and to bind somehow to the present spurum forms is the maximum of what you are able to imagine to yourself in the coming 20-25 years. When I make self-consciousness scanning of myself in the future, in 20 years, I can compare those my knowledge with what we have here and now, and tell that this looks like that way, and this looks like that way, and this looks like that way. But everything changes so strongly any further, the world becomes so different, that it's virtually impossible to convey this to you. Information flows are so dense that everything will change in 10 years. To that extent as the previous 100 years have changed us, and even more, I think it's around 200 years. The difference in the states of us and our society now and in 10 years is the same, like between the present state and the state of 200 years before. That's because the information flows we enter are so powerful and of different quality, and the information will have been modulated out of completely different energy plasma at different levels. As I've understood, the focus of close attention is the executive consciousness mechanism, and the resultant, let's say, integral attention focus is the focus of creative activity of a person, which reflects all of our conception about our possibilities to the much greater extent. Is that right? To say about the possibilities of the stereo form, the focus of creative activity of the stereo form is the creative potential of la mode, which is accessible to the given person. Does it combine all totality of the focuses? All focuses of creative activity of every stereotype, these configurations are ingrained with their own vibrations. These couldn't resemble something made of a wire, some kind of communications. They are vibrations. They are the quantums. These quantums are ingrained to that creative source which generates forms. You specifically in these world groups, the same you in those world groups, the same you in other world groups. When we become interested in some question in which we are less qualified, do we begin to get deep into this side and manifest the focuses of close attention exactly in it? Definitely. And thereby we change our vlomot and naasam, self-consciousness configuration. Right. While listening to my words, you should try to catch that common sense, that logics, which I want to put into you. Try to imagine what I want to convey to you with the help of the vision I possess. Then you will start to refocus to those of your forms who reflect, live, comprehend already on this level. More qualitative psychosomatic reactions, thinking processes. And that is where I call you to, the more qualitative worlds, the worlds where I set off to, the worlds from where I take these conceptions about life, about myself, and about all of you. You could ignore this and not try to obtain further insight. Nothing will happen to me regardless of how much you would disregard me, bark at me. All of this is just your reaction, your problem. This doesn't concern me. I was then, and I am the same now. I won't even shake myself from your affronts. I am the way for you. This is an opportunity for you to refocus to your more qualitative future. Of course, I won't tell you, guys, Eden is there, gardens are there. We are walking there holding hands, drinking manna from heaven. All of this is nonsense. What I say is that the quantums which form this space and the quantums which form that space are equal. Equal. All the difference and all the problem lie in forming of this quantum of the worlds surrounded by you on the more qualitative level. As you've seen, and as I've tried to explain that, these are the levels of your thinking, feeling, your comprehending. This is the most important. You create. That is by means of the quality of your thoughts, the quality of your choices, the quality of your convictions. You create yourself in those forms which exist already, and you've just refocused there. The configuration has become more harmonious with that form, and here you go, you are there. You can't stay beyond the form. You are always the focus. You are always the resultant of some force interactions. I've tried to combine the last scientific data as of today. I disprove many things in my books, and I complement many others. When you finish reading them, you will gain possibility to coincide harmoniously with that knowledge which you possess in those worlds of the future, which every student possesses. Those you exist already now, but you should refocus to those forms inertially, refocus dualertly, consecutively, harmoniously. Though you could refocus to completely other side and to get across to those worlds where nuclear catastrophes have happened in the nearest future. Strong cataclysms have been approaching already, where you acquire completely other experience and have to focus exactly on what attracts those of you, in fear, in survival, in anti-stress sexuality, and so on. As soon as you are focused on this right now, and not interested in other things, well, you will find yourself in there. But what if you're focused on the same things, on the same fear, on the same sexuality, on the same other conflicts inside yourself, and you don't comprehend that this is just the synthesis process, that you do this just for the purpose of synthesizing unknown levels faster inside yourself? Then you will focus on the direction of your own stronger harmonization with those future worlds which surround you there. Inherently, what you tell is physics. Physics, yes, you'd say it's spiritual physics. Because this knowledge will attract such people who won't be satisfied with those fairy tales about God sitting at heaven and spying on everybody. This won't work. Simply those of you who are in the higher qualitative future are much more intellectual, much more sensuous, more altruistic, more self-conscious than all those idols. Idols which have been appealed to by people on the lofty rostrums, trying to convince you in existence of certain Edens and so on. These Edens have been earned by you. This is everything where you aspire to. You just decide, yes, this man says something meaningful, or to the contrary, this man tricks us. I'll listen to him and leave. Let him feed lions to others. I'll go to that person who is more interesting and more convincible to me. As you wish. All of these are the ways. You are everywhere. Everywhere. And you are alive everywhere, even where you've died, where they consider you to be dead.